Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, all right. Happy Friday to all of you tuning in live to Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. I am Coach Lois. I'm your host. I'm a sales trainer and owner of Lois Kofi Enterprises. And almost every Friday, you get me and an amazing guest or me solo. That's a kind of an exciting announcement. I'm going to be doing more monologue podcasts in the future. And today I'm super excited. I have a longtime friend from a past life. So I'm excited to introduce you here, Dr. Erik, very shortly. Excuse me, for those of you who are tuning in, you know the drill. If you are inside this live community on Facebook called Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, I'm also streaming in a couple other groups and on my fan page. Please comment below and share where you're tuning in from. Comment hashtag live if you're on the live, or hashtag replay if you're on the replay, and where you're tuning in from. And if you want to, just play along for fun, because I know Dr. Erik's going to tell us about the weather report in Minnesota right now. As I have this palm tree sitting behind me, if you're seeing us visually, Dr. Erik and I go, gosh, I want to say it's been 4 years since I had a car accident. And I don't know if you remember, Dr. Erik, I met you as a result of that car accident, and he helped me get my brain back in order. And so I'm super excited to have you here. Dr. Erik Reis is the Director of Health and Wellness at Nobody Studios. We're going to learn about that. He's also the Clinic Director at the Neural Connection. So he's an amazing doctor helping a lot of people with the brain, which obviously impacts their body. So I'm super excited. Why don't you share with us a little bit more about you and what you're up to at Nobody Studio?
Yeah, thanks for that introduction. And I want to just thank you for having me on here, because it has been a bit since we've been able to connect. And it's amazing watching you go through your own journey as well, too. And I'm grateful to have been a player in that small pattern for you to be able to get back to being in action. So I'm grateful to be here today. So my involvement with Nobody Studios is something that I hope to be doing for the rest of my life. Nobody Studios is a rebel venture studio, and a venture studio is essentially a combination between venture capital and incubation. So as we finish up our private fundraising round right now, we're about to embark to be the first venture studio ever to actually go through a crowdfunding round to raise more capital. And our goal with that is taking all the money that we fundraise to essentially fund ideas and to create startups. So for me specifically, my main focus is obviously health and wellness. But as a studio, we have many different facets. So we have crypto, blockchain, real estate. One of the other companies that are coming to fruition right now is a platform called Ovations. And it's actually founded by Sugar Ray Leonard Jr. So Ray Leonard Jr. is obviously the son of Sugar Ray Leonard, the famous boxer. And Ray had an amazing speaking business before COVID had hit. And what had happened is that when COVID had come through and all of his speaking gigs had gotten canceled, he just asked the question, like, there's got to be a better way. Like, how can I resurrect this? How can I get back in action? And so he brought his idea into the studio, and what we essentially created was an online marketplace for speakers, coaches, consultants to find exposure with these amazing companies that are looking for talent. And it also serves the exact opposite purpose, to allow these amazing companies to come in and say, hey, I want to find some new talent. I want to find somebody to, empower our annual convention to get our salespeople or our employees to get back in action and get after it. So as a studio, we are just radically focused on creating amazing companies. We want to create companies that have an impact. We want to create companies that are profitable. And more importantly, too, we want to create companies that people actually want. I think this is a really important aspect, because Lois, you and I are both entrepreneurs at heart. And I'm sure a lot of those listening today are as well, where you want to create something, you want to have an impact. But the biggest thing with that is you have to create something that people actually want. And so there's no point in you and I trying to reinvent the VCR, because nobody wants that, right? We're not going back to those days. And so no matter how much funding we get, no matter how great our pitch deck is, nobody wants that. And this is where a lot of startups run into problems, is that 9 out of 10 startups fail. Well, a lot of them have great ideas that are poorly rooted in what reality is actually going to provide them. And so, as a studio, we're just heavily focused on this. And for me, in the health and wellness space, hearing stories like yours, Lois, are really empowering for me to want to really change the face of healthcare. And I think that
Mm,
what we've gone through over the last couple of years really has shown us that there are some serious pitfalls that we have had to confront head on with how we
mm,
get people to be healthy, how they can stay
mm,
healthy, and more importantly,
mm,
too, how do we get people to be able to handle anything that comes their way, right? Whether it's a car accident like in your situation or an
mhm,
opportunistic infection like COVID, health is really a daily decision. And so it's really
mm.
important for us as entrepreneurs and business owners too to realize that your health really is your wealth. And I love the name of this podcast because it reigns true on so many levels. So you are wise beyond your years, Lois, and I think you already knew that, but I will say that all day every day. So
You're so kind. I love that. I have to unpack a few things quickly.
please do.
First things, guys, if you enjoy this podcast, you know the drill by now. Hit the share button if you're inside of the Facebook community or if you're catching on the replay, because we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff today. And then if you have questions, we do take live questions in this live studio audience format. So please comment below with questions if there's something that really inspires you. I want to defend VHS. I still have copies of MASH was my favorite series, and I have all of the VHS episodes of MASH. So I could probably still handle a VCR.
I'm just a hater. I'm a millennial hater. I'll admit it. That's my whole MO. I'm guilty.
No,
So
I'm teasing you because I think I'm like your older sister. I definitely am dating myself a little bit, but it's all good. And I love what you call it. Did you say Rebel Venture Studio?
yeah, yeah, it's kind of a term that we've come up with together, and I have nothing but massive respect for our founder, Mark McNally. He's just a serial entrepreneur who is brilliant beyond his years. And what he really came up with is that we want to change the way that companies are built. And Mark
Mm,
has so much experience and extensive knowledge about the entrepreneur space and just
mhm,
building businesses, companies that are sustainable, right? Not just
mhm,
trying to catch on to a fad, but to really have an impact, but also make money, right? There's nothing wrong with wealth creation. That's a beautiful part of what a business can provide. And so um, we're rebels because we're challenging the status quo, and more importantly, too, there's a reason why we're called Nobody Studios. This studio is meant to be larger than any one person who's involved. And yes, we have amazing people from, anyone from Microsoft, American Airlines, Twilio, YouTube, Facebook. Like we have these awesome investors and leaders on our teams, but nobody's talking about what they've done. They're talking about what they want to do together to push the dial forward to help more people. And I think that
mm,
that's something that's so powerful that we really carry as a core value of ours is having an impact, but also being able to have our cake and eat it too and be able to create sustainable companies. And that to me
mm.
just sounds super fun. And I'm just very grateful to be a part of it. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds for us.
I love that. And you talked about something in the first portion when you shared before I teased you about the VHS. I wanted to come back to that. A lot of people because we're born in this spacesuit, right, of our bodies, and we're born perfect, whole, and complete. However, I think we're on this journey in life to we're learning how to become somebody, right? And there's this structure that we've been exposed to, and I'm not trying to get political here at all. My audience knows I don't like religion or politics on my show per se, but we've got this very patriarchal masculine society structure that is like go, 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 do, sell, 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 keep up with the Joneses. And I think that's very intimidating for a lot of people, especially if they've had car accidents. I saw what happened to me, just that trauma and I was a personal trainer at the time. I don't know if you remember. So I was out of work for a while. So then you have all these responsibilities that mount up and fears that come together, and all of a sudden you do really feel like, how am I going to succeed in life? But you have a dream. You want to make a difference. You want to make an impact. So I love that you're offering up this opportunity for anyone to succeed and to challenge the status quo. I don't know if you have anything else to say about what I just shared, if anything that resonates with you.
Yeah, well, it does for sure. I think fortunately and unfortunately, I've heard that story so many times, and I think the beautiful part of just being alive and being on this earth is the fact that you have a brain that we know that changes and grows and can adapt and improve and
Mm,
allow you to be better at something, right? Anybody who's really skilled at something really just shows you that it's possible, right? And they're really no different than you and I are. I mean, we share like
mm,
99 point, some percent of the same genetic DNA blueprint as chimpanzees do. Yet we're very different, right? So that's powerful, and that should be really empowering for a lot of individuals, not only who are listening to this today, but just in general. I mean, the fact that you have an opportunity every day to choose what you want to do, to go after your
mm,
dreams and chase them, that's really fun. I mean, I really feel for those who feel as though they are bored with life because there's so much exciting things that you could be doing and should be doing. And that's really where, mental health is was at a crossroads, is that there are a lot of people who are struggling and who aren't
mm,
finding solutions. And as we
mhm,
start getting into more discussions about evolving technologies, medicines, what healthcare really could and should look like, there are so many opportunities for people to really find
mm,
themselves. And conversations like this are a great starting point. Getting a great coach, having somebody who can help call you out on your own limiting biases and beliefs, and then, really challenging the story, right? We all have a narrative or a story that we
mm.
tell ourselves, but I have an unfortunate news flash for you. A lot of the stories that you tell yourself are actually falsely rooted in false beliefs.
Mm.
And we're finding, especially with some really intriguing neuroscience, that memories really aren't that accurate.
Oh, speak more to that.
Well, that's intimidating, right? So what we know is that the memories that you recollect about, just say childhood or even like months ago, a lot of them aren't really rooted in the truth. I mean, there are truthful things about that, right? So like I lived in Minnesota months ago, but the events that happened to me are merely just subtle tags that I've placed, and it's kind of like when your spouse tells the same story over and over again, and every time they tell it, there's just a little bit more of a different story that comes out with that, right? And so they're always appealing just a little bit more. And you're like, that wasn't the original story you started telling. It's the
Mm,
subtleties, right? It's not that they're vastly different. Like, you forget that you played a sport and you played a different one. I mean, it's not that large, but what we know with individuals who are under stressful situations, this is a hot topic in court cases. Individuals who are under significant amounts of stress, whether it's a specific type of abuse or trauma, their
mm.
recollection of those events are actually very inaccurate and very poor.
Wow.
It's not that they're not trying as hard as they can. It's just more so that the brain hates stress. So when you are stressed, you're not laying down memories. When you're stressed, you're not able to consciously process information as accurately as you could if you were in a cool, calm, collective state. Well, how is
Mm,
this relevant for you as a business owner? If you're always under stress, if you're always under the gun, if you're always
mm,
grinding and hustling and in this sort of toxic masculinity workplace mentality we've carried for a long time, do you think your brain's going to be at the highest level of capacity to allow you to execute and accomplish your goals? Probably not, because
yeah.
physiologically, that's just not how we're wired. And so you can't just
Mm,
overcome it by, negating sleep and trying to hack your physiology. It's not that easy. And so I think something that's really important, and I've experienced too with, having a clinic, having a consulting company, being a part of the studio, is just that, I've really had to double down on my own physical and mental and emotional health. I've had to take
mm,
time away. I've had to
mm,
make sure my workouts are consistent. I've had to find time for me to meditate and focus and breathe and just find myself and really
mm,
not necessarily fall back in love with myself, but fall back in love with myself and really
mm,
prioritize me. And for those of you who
mm,
need to hear that, I'm giving you the green light to do that because nobody told me that that was okay. And I had to find it
mm,
out myself. Hopefully
mhm.
this conversation can facilitate somebody to do that earlier than hitting a dark spot or hitting their quote unquote rock bottom before they get to that point.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's the heart of the healthy and wealthy and wise message, as you know. And really, I'm creating a movement with this, the name healthy and wealthy and wise. And what you hit on something that's really cool. It's even not about finding yourself or finding the time. It's creative. So I'm getting the certification right now. I'm in training. I'm not certified yet. It's called the Magnetic Mind
Hmm.
certification. So I'm now going to be calling myself a Magnetic Mind sales coach because I've seen time and time again exactly what you said. I
Yeah.
can give you the perfect tactics for lead generation and sales strategy. I was also a personal trainer who coached thousands of people. I could give you the training plan to go and run a sub 4 hour marathon, which, oh, by the way, was like the very most common goal. And there were people who did it with excellence, but there was far more people, sorry, who didn't. And I think it comes back to coming from a place of having fun with it and a creative structure, as instead of, oh, I got to solve this problem, or, oh, I just screwed up, I just made a mistake, and then sitting in that not so creative space based on what you said about the brain. So I don't know if you can speak to that, because that's what I'm really, really beating my drum for everybody that I work with this year.
There is a reason why a majority of the things out there are trying to gamify your experience. When
Mm,
you are involved in a game, you become cognitively and consciously focused. You become
mm,
alert, you become engaged, and your brain forgets about all the other things around you. So, this beautiful flow state that everybody's trying to chase after is a real thing. There's some interesting research that came out of Chicago, and it's Dr. He has an amazing Russian name, and I can't think of it right now. Csikszentmihalyi is kind of the name that I'm thinking of, and so he's this researcher who studied flow state. And he wrote a great book on it too, and what he talks
mm,
about is people who are in the flow state, they're not doing an easy task, but they're not doing an extremely difficult task. They're doing a task
mm,
that's just stressful enough to engage you, but not frustrate you. And they're doing this task that isn't super enjoyable, but it's also not something that they absolutely hate. It's kind of in this mediocre sweet spot where you're
mm,
engaged and you're focused and you're excited and you're happy, but you know, you're not having bells and whistles and winning the lottery every 5 seconds, because that's just not how our brains are wired. Yet I think that when we get into creating businesses or entrepreneurship, the easy part is starting, right? The hard part is grinding for days and weeks and months and then years. And we all think, people
mm,
are overnight success until you realize they're 10, 15 years in the making. And
mhm,
all of that hard work that they've done up to that point is the reason why they finally accomplished their goal. And I know I'm just as guilty as anybody else about wanting to have it all yesterday, right? The mentality, the millennial mentality of being like, oh, I should have this by this point in time, or I should be able to accomplish this. And, unfortunately, what that's done for me, and I can only speak on my experiences, that's made me feel like at moments that I've been a failure. It's made me
mhm,
feel like I
mhm,
haven't accomplished these huge, massive goals that people accomplish later in life that, now I look back on and I'm like, man, that really made me emotionally feel like I wasn't worthy. It made me feel like I
mm,
wasn't doing the right stuff. And
mm,
sadly, I've had to just restructure how I set my goals and my beliefs, and I've had to do so much internal work on myself. And I'm gonna do that for the rest of my life. Not because I want to, but because I feel like I have to. And it's
mm,
opened up so many doors for me emotionally to feel more engaged, to have better relationships, to be a better partner, a better spouse, a better, husband. I mean, there are so many aspects that go into that. And for those who feel stuck, I mean, there are so many right answers out there. The
mm,
right answer for Lois might not be the right answer for you, and that's okay. That's what's beautiful. And I think sometimes we forget that we're all looking for the same magic pill or the one answer. And
mhm,
tell you what, I have yet to find that one answer or that one thing that will make a difference. And for everyone else, there's going to be something that's going to be different for them, and that's beautiful. And that's something we all need to own and take in, and more
mhm,
importantly, too, be okay with. Because I think I battled with that for a while, and I'm getting better, and I'm getting through that. But that's a lifelong journey that we're all going to go through. You're never going
mm.
to feel like you made it, right? And that's okay, but you can definitely be happy along the way and feel fulfilled as you do it too. And that's where I think real success comes from.
That was awesome. I love it. Yeah, and going back to, I love gamification. Having been a triathlete, and I have an affiliate challenge right now for my affiliates. So if you guys are my affiliates, I have a big game for you guys in February to have fun, because life is so, sometimes we make it so hard, don't we? Like, we're
We
really
do.
good at, putting putting our foot in our mouth or just creating things that aren't needing to be there. I really am excited to talk to you about, like, when going back to the studio and talking about coming from creating something from nothing. How
Yep.
does someone go through that process with Nobody Studio?
Yeah, it's a great question. As we continue to build the plane as we fly it, the main thing that we're looking to attract is just people, right? So like amazing people who have great ideas. And this is what's really exciting for me is that I come from a family of entrepreneurs and people who are creative and have these
Hmm.
brilliant business ideas. And that just makes me, that's the reason why I get up in the morning. I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know what I can't do yet. I'm still in this childhood curiosity mindset to be like, what else is out there? The world is so cool. But why not me? Right. And I hope a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people listening to this too feel that same way. And if you don't, um, you know, talk with Lois. Like she's so inspirational. She will change your mindset in a heartbeat. And the beautiful part of that too is that one conversation could change your brain forever. So
Mm.
for those people who are looking for finding an opportunity to be like, I have an idea. How do I take this and build it and test it and scale it and grow it? That's the exact reason why we've built our studio. Our studio is designed to give an entrepreneur or somebody with a brilliant idea the resources to take that idea, to stress test it, to take it to the market and say,
Mm.
do people actually want this? Unless you get the feedback that people actually do want it, it's validated. Well,
Mm.
now we need to build a team around you, right? A leadership team who's going to push you and guide you and develop good marketing and a good business strategy, and maybe you need product development or you need some technology behind your idea. We can
Mm.
bring all those resources to you, and what that provides you is it provides you an accelerated roadmap to take your idea and turn it into a reality. And
Mm.
at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is make dreams come true, right? I
Mm.
mean, everybody wants their idea to be the next best thing since sliced bread. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you have a vector to do that, you have a studio who can back you, that's an amazing opportunity for you to accelerate your learning curve. Instead of you spending the next 5, 10, maybe 15 years
Oh,
trying to figure it out and reinvent the wheel,
yeah.
what if we just give you the wheel, show you how to use it, and now you turn it from a Pinto into a Ferrari? That sounds like a really good situation and far easier said than done. And I'm completely acknowledging that. But the goal with the studio and what really excites me about it is that we're leveling the playing field for a lot of people to become involved at a
Hmm.
grand level, to be able to take their ideas and turn them into the reality that they hope, wished, and dreamed for. And that's exciting to me.
I love it. I love that, the Pinto versus the Ferrari, and it's teamwork makes the dream work. As cheesy as that sounds, I know John Maxwell coined that phrase, and I use it all the time. But
Yeah.
together, everyone does achieve more, and so why not? So if someone has an idea, how do they reach out to you? Where can they find you? What kind of gift do you have today for the audience?
Yeah, well, if somebody does have an idea, what I can give you is I can give you my time. And so I'm happy to hop on a 30-minute call with you, brainstorm with you. I mean, this is part of the first paid ideation aspect for us that a lot of people are heavily investing in with us right now. I mean, we're getting a lot of feedback and a lot of people calling in, reaching out to us saying like, "Hey, I want to take this, bring this to market and do this." And so we're fielding ideas. And so if you have a brilliant idea, find me, reach out to me. I'm all over LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way for you to find me. You just type in Dr. Erik Reis or Nobody Studios and you'll be able to find me. And so having a conversation and doing a consultation for 30 minutes, it could change your life. It could change my life too. Maybe I'm a part of this as well, and I can help you grow and change and improve your situation. And so,
Mm.
um, we're all kind of dreamers, and I think a lot of the people listening to this would consider themselves dreamers in some way, shape, or form.
Mm.
When you're a dreamer, your dreams aren't small; they're usually pretty big. And as a Rebel Venture Studio, our goal is to be frugal, be aggressive, but also accomplish goals and make things happen. So,
Mm.
for anybody interested, feel free to reach out to me and Lois. You can always reach out to Lois as well, and she can get you in contact with me as well. And I'm happy to have a phone call and have a meeting with you.
Yeah, and I'll drop your LinkedIn profile into the show notes so you guys can reach out to Dr. Erik on there as well. So that's fantastic. Is there any like one like 60-second nugget, anything that's on your heart that you haven't shared yet that maybe we've glossed over?
Yeah, um, I always love talking about this is when you can change your brain, you can change your life.
Mm,
And there's a reason why in clinical practice, I can have people who come in who have brain injuries, concussions, all of these complex neurological conditions, and they can still get better. No matter how long it's been, no matter what
mm,
diagnosis they've been given, you have an amazing ability to change and improve because of your brain.
mm,
That also allows you to have the ability to get better at doing anything that you want to, whether it's being a business coach or a consultant or
mm,
being an entrepreneur. And so
mm,
I challenge every single person out there to realize that they have so much untapped potential. And as somebody who's deep into the neuroscientific community, we still don't know much about the brain. We still don't know what the brain has as far as a capacity. So when
mm,
you think about the understanding and how amazing that is,
mm,
I mean, there's just so much opportunity for you. So no matter where you're at, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, especially in this day and age with having access to the internet, all bets are off. And you have no idea what you're capable of. And the only person telling you no is you.
mm. I love that. That was brilliant. And it's a good segue. I wanted to do some quick announcements here for my audience before I ask you the last question. So just sit tight, Dr. Erik. I wanted to remind you guys that 2 weeks from yesterday is the High Performance Sales Masterclass with me and Jenny Harkleroad. Jenny's a subconscious mind coach. So if you like Dr. Bruce Lipton, I'm sure Dr. Erik, you know who that is, of course. You're going to love what we talk about because sales is all right here, guys. Performance, everything starts in the brain. And you obviously have the conscious side of you, and then you have that subconscious monkey mind, right? So if you want to sign up for that, it's at go to balancedyou.org/performance. It's a 90-minute masterclass with me and Jenny. It's the first time we've done it in almost 2 years, and it's going to be the last time we do it. Probably this may be the only one for the whole year, guys. So please sign up, bring your sales team, bring your colleagues, refer a friend, share that link with whoever you know that may be struggling and could use some reprogramming of the brain. And then I also want to remind you guys, starting Monday, my last guest, Ann Lundberg from Sweden, she is actually hosting the 5-day Monetize Your Method Chummit. It's a 5-day challenge with speakers on how to monetize your method. And I'm going to be speaking next Friday. So please sign up for that. I'll put that link inside of the chat as well. Always looking for great resources and tools, things to help you with your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom, guys. So please check out those links. And then last but not least, Dr. Erik, I can't wait to hear your answer to this question. This question is one that I ask every single guest, and it has a lot of meaning for me, the name of my show, Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. But when you hear that phrase, what comes up for you? What do you think that means, healthy and wealthy and wise?
I think it really just gives people a green light to prioritize themselves. And one of the things that I speak to with my patients is that sometimes you need to be selfish in order to be selfless. And what I mean by that is you have to be able to fill your cup before you can fill anybody else's. And you've heard it before. If you're on an airplane and the oxygen masks come down, you have to put yours on before you put someone else's on. And so
Mm,
prioritizing your health, your wealth, and your happiness can yield so many benefits to those around you and for you to be a
mm,
leader and to show people that it's possible. And so I think it's so important for us to own that. And more importantly, too, to give us and give ourselves some grace at times as well, because you're human and that's okay.
mm. Thank you for that. I'll be autobiographic on that one because I haven't told many people this. I haven't made it public. I did have the COVID this month. You might even still hear it in my voice a little bit. So I had some moments, okay, where I wasn't giving myself, my body grace. I'm like, what the? Ugh, why can't I just feel good right now and go and do work what I love, what I'm passionate about. So health is a priority, guys.
Hmm.
So if you've been sick with the flu, if you've had the COVID, I just want to give you permission to listen to what Dr. Erik just said. Give yourself grace because without that, health, wealth, and happiness and wisdom is just it's harder to have if you can't do that. So that was good stuff.
So true. So true.
Awesome. Well, I want to give a shout out to Sean Waite, who's normally in freezing Minnesota, but he's in Panama City Beach, Florida. Lucky Doc, you escaped one of the coldest weeks in Minnesota, I think, so far this winter, right, Dr. Erik?
Yeah, we're not enjoying this. I'll put it that way. Smart man, Sean. Good call.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Erik, for being here today. Again, guys, if you saw value inside of this, please hit the share button below. And of course, if you're not already inside the Facebook group where Dr. Erik, all my speakers, and myself are, come jump in where the water's warm and all the cool kids, like-minded people who are living their best life or striving to create their best life, their best health, their best wealth, and their best wisdom. So tune in next week. We actually have a return guest who, unfortunately, we had technology issues. So my friend Sarah Elkins, we weren't able to have her show in December. So she's coming back to give it a second opportunity next Friday, the 28th at our normal time, 10 a.m. Pacific. So come on in, join us live so you can ask our guests questions and be a part of this live. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Until then, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at lois@loiscoffee.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.